It's really good news. So there's a church in Haiti. They're the largest church in Haiti, and Stuart has had long-time friendship with the pastor. And he called the pastor and said, "How are you doing?" immediately after the earthquake. And the pastor said, "Stuart, I sat down for 2 days just shocked." He said, "My spiritual son lost his wife and 2 children immediately in the earthquake. We just finished burying them." He said, "I was in despair for 2 days, and then I broke into tears, wept for 13 hours straight. And the Lord said, 'Get up, you have work to do.' And I've been working ever since." Stuart felt led to go down there. We have several connections. Cry is doing work and setting up logistics in 2 different places now and just doing excellent work. Others are touching places. And this church has had the largest prayer meeting in the Western Hemisphere for the last 10 years. They've had 2,000 people gathering every morning at 6 a.m. So Stuart gets down there last week and he says to the pastor, I don't know that he initiated, but the pastor said, "We got to restart the prayer meeting. We're restarting the prayer meeting." And right away, the next morning, 2,000 people show up for prayer. Well, that was about 4 or 5 days ago. Yesterday morning, Stuart texts me, and he says, "You got to pray." He said, 12,000 people showed up for prayer this morning. The government of the nation, instead of celebrating Mardi Gras on the 12th, 13th, and 14th, has called the nation by the request of the churches to 3 days of prayer and fasting. He texts me and he says, "For the last 2 hours, 12,000 people have been crying out to the Lord." He texts me 2 hours later, he says, "It's going 4 hours." He texts me 2 hours later, he says, "It's been going 6 hours." This morning, he texts me, actually this afternoon, and he said, 14,000 showed up this morning for prayer. He said in the last 24 hours, 485 people have gotten saved by simple message of the gospel going forward, right among the crowd. He said believers and unbelievers are coming to the prayer meeting, and the unbelievers are getting saved. They don't even know why they're there, and they're getting saved. On day 27, which was just about 4 or 5 days ago, happened on the 12th, and so the beginning of this prayer and fast was 1 month to the day from the earthquake. But on day 27, news reports came out, they pulled a man out of the rubble who was still alive. On day 27. And they interviewed him on the news in Haiti. You won't see this one probably in the U.S. news. They interviewed him on the news. They said, "How did you survive?" He said, "The man with the white robe." He said every day for the 27 days, the man in the white robe came to me and brought me water. That's how I survived. Now, this